the trial that's shaking the music industry to its core, where fame, power, and trauma collide. Sean "Diddy" Combs, once hailed as the king of hip-hop, now stands accused of leading a dark criminal empire. From shocking testimonies to celebrity names, hush money, sex tapes, and violence. This is not just another court case. This is the unraveling of one of the most powerful figures in entertainment. This is the Diddy trial. Day by day. Day 1. May 5th. Jury selection begins. The trial opened in Manhattan Federal Court, with Judge Aaron Subramanian addressing prospective jurors. Combs, facing serious sex trafficking and racketeering charges, was introduced as presumed innocent. Jurors were questioned about their views on law enforcement, celebrity influence, and hip-hop culture. As the judge went over a list of names connected to the case, including Kid Cudi, Cassie Ventura, and Kanye West, it became clear this wouldn't be a typical trial. Despite concerns over prior exposure to a video showing Combs assaulting Cassie, some jurors were still allowed to proceed. By the end of the day, 19 out of 32 advanced. Combs remained composed, flanked by his legal team, exchanging hugs and notes as the foundation of the trial was laid. Day 2. May 6th. The juror. Shuffle continues. With jury selection still underway, the pool reached 35 candidates, 10 short of the target. Several were dismissed due to personal conflicts or opinions. One man openly admitted he couldn't refrain from smoking marijuana during trial breaks. Another said the infamous 2016 video had already convinced him of Diddy's guilt. Yet surprisingly, others who had also seen the footage remained in consideration, swearing they could remain impartial. Combs appeared attentive, occasionally rising when jurors entered. This wouldn't go unnoticed in later proceedings.
Day 3, May 7th. Bias and backstories. 2 more jurors were dismissed. One worked for HBO, potentially tied to a documentary portraying Combs negatively. Another admitted their prior judgment might cloud fairness. By the end of the day, the final jury pool reached 45, and pressure mounted for what was clearly going to be a trial unlike any the court had seen. Day 4, May 9th. Charges hold. The defense requested that some charges be dismissed, claiming racial bias. But the judge rejected the argument. The severity of the allegations, spanning from 2004 to 2024, were reason enough to proceed. Subramanian delayed final jury selection to avoid jurors backing out over the weekend. Tension was already building.
Day 5. May 12, the trial officially begins.
Opening statements painted vastly different portraits. Prosecutors said Combs led a ring involving forced sex, drugs, and blackmail, using fame as a smokescreen. The defense said Diddy had demons, violence, drugs, but insisted everything was consensual. 2 witnesses took the stand.
You ain't going to work with you, censors. I like to be able to test 20 years ago.
A hotel security guard who recalled Combs violently assaulting Cassie and then trying to bribe him with a sack of cash. And a male stripper who described being paid to have sex with Cassie while Combs allegedly watched. The jury listened in stunned silence. Diddy's daughters left the courtroom during the graphic testimony.
Day 6. May 13. Cassie takes the stand. Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex-girlfriend, began what would become days of emotional testimony. She described being forced into freak-offs, drug-fueled sex marathons with male escorts, filmed by Combs. These sessions sometimes lasted days, and she said she was often degraded while under the influence of narcotics. She painted Combs as controlling, manipulative, and violent. According to her, she complied out of fear. Fear for her safety, her reputation, and her career. Day 7. May 14. Cassie says Diddy raped her. Cassie testified that after their relationship ended, Combs raped her, and then threatened to release explicit tapes. She described being forced into hundreds of sexual encounters, always under the looming threat of public humiliation or violence. Prosecutors showed images and court-sealed footage from these encounters. Her breakdown on the witness stand was palpable. This was not just a celebrity dispute, this was raw trauma. Day 8. May 15. The defense pushes back. Cross-examination began. The defense acknowledged Combs's temper and substance abuse, but framed the relationship as chaotic, not criminal. They read texts where Cassie seemed to express love or even willingness in the freak-offs. Cassie responded firmly, it was survival. She said those messages were sent under duress, carefully crafted to keep her safe in a volatile situation. Day 9, May 16, Cassie concludes. Cassie revealed that Combs had purchased the rights to her memoir, titled The Dark Times, for $20 million. She also secured a $10 million settlement from the hotel where surveillance caught the now infamous assault. Don Richard, a former Danity Kane member, testified next, recounting an incident where Combs hit Cassie with a skillet and warned Richard she could go missing if she ever spoke out. She painted Combs as controlling, manipulative, and violent. According to her, she complied out of fear for her safety, her reputation, and her career. Day 10, May 19, the raid photos. The court was shown disturbing evidence: drugs, sex paraphernalia, and pills found in a Louis Vuitton bag labeled the Med Bag. Photos of Cassie's injuries, including a permanent scar above her eyebrow, were presented. Cassie's best friend testified about being beaten with a wooden hanger and offered $30,000 to stay quiet. Diddy's former assistant revealed the brutal pace of his household, marked by abuse, chaos, and control. Day 11, May 20th, the Punisher appears. Cassie's mother confirmed she mortgaged her home to protect her daughter from blackmail. Then came Sheree, the Punisher Hayes, a male sex worker who claimed he'd had multiple encounters with Cassie. He testified she appeared to enjoy them, which slightly supported the defense. But Homeland Security agent Gerard Gannon shifted the focus again. He described finding AR-15 parts, lingerie, and suspicious encrypted drives in Diddy's Miami mansion. Day 12, May 21st. Inside Diddy's life, a clinical psychologist explained how love and trauma often coexist in abusive relationships. She said victims might post happy photos while suffering behind the scenes. George Kaplan, a former assistant, talked about cleaning up Combs's hotel rooms, often filled with drugs, sex toys, and strange white powder. He said Combs would hand him cash and direct him to buy drugs. Day 13, May 22nd, Kid Cudi speaks out. Rapper Kid Cudi testified that Combs once broke into his home after learning he was dating Cassie. Months later, his Porsche was firebombed, and although Combs denied it, he later apologized without admitting guilt. Witnesses also described violent episodes on private jets and in hotel rooms, with Cassie often covering bruises with makeup. Day 14, May 27, Combs's staff testifies. Capricorn Clark, Diddy's former aide, shared her loyalty turned regret. She witnessed abuse firsthand and revealed Combs threatened to harm Cassie if Clark intervened. She was later blacklisted from the industry after being fired, but on the stand, she struggled to remember specific allegations under cross-examination. Day 15, May 28th, Cudi's firebombing investigated. An LAPD officer confirmed the 2011 break-in at Cudi's home, and an arson expert explained how the damage to his Porsche seemed targeted, but unusual for a Molotov cocktail. Stylist Deontay Nash spoke of weekly hotel visits with Cassie carrying sex toys and of seeing her bruises. He also testified to Combs's aggression, not just with Cassie, but with those around her. Day 16 and 17, May 29 through 30, Mia takes the stand. A former assistant using the name Mia said she was raped and held captive for 5 days in Combs's home. She also claimed to have witnessed Combs beat Cassie at a Prince-hosted party. Defense attorneys highlighted contradictions, like videos where Mia praised Diddy, but Mia said it was all a mask. Instagram was a performance, she told the jury. Day 18th and 19, June 2nd through 3rd, the hotel beating video and hush money. Eddie Garcia, a hotel security supervisor, said Combs paid him $100,000 to suppress the beating video. A forensic expert verified its authenticity, along with 10 recovered sex tapes. Brianna Bongolan, Cassie's friend and alleged drug dealer, returned to testify. She admitted to past drug offenses and smoking weed with Diddy, but insisted she was once held over a balcony by him. Day 20 through 22, June 4 through 6. The love contract finally, a woman called Jane testified. She described orchestrated filmed sex parties, with escorts flown in and everything staged by Diddy. After a trip to Turks and Caicos ended in another orgy, she tried to leave. Instead, she was offered a monthly love contract, $10,000 a month, to stay in Combs's orbit. She accepted, using the funds to support her child. She says the encounters left her exhausted, injured, and emotionally broken, while Combs romanced others in public. The trial isn't over, but one thing is clear. The image of Diddy as just a party-loving mogul has shattered. Whether he's convicted or not, the courtroom testimony has exposed a dark side of fame, one where silence was bought, fear was constant, and power protected everything. So what do you think? Will Diddy walk free, or will this be one of the biggest convictions in music history? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like and subscribe for full updates on this case and more celebrity courtroom drama.